One of you requested I make a full antivirus app with these 5 features, and since your wishes are my absolute command, here we go. So we start off with the malware scan. And as I explained to him during our chat, there are so many types of malwares. They come in different shapes and form, but since we mostly use mobile phones and laptops, one of the things we do like to protect are our files and folders. I am talking about documents, photos, videos, and whatnot. And so for the malware feature, we are going to create an antivirus feature that can detect when our file is corrupted or has a virus in it. So after importing the necessary libraries, we initialize Flask, handle cores, and start to create the malware feature. We want a file, and you will know the reason soon. In here, we are going to create over 4 to 5 functions to get our malware scanner running. We start by calculating the file hash. This makes us determine the file integrity. And then we scan each directory. We create a function, call it scan directory. Using os.walk, we get to go through each file and calculate the file hash. We then save the file hash to the file, and this is the reason we wanted a file. We also create another function which launches the hashes from the file, and our last function is to compare the current function to the stored function. We then create an API to connect it to the front end. We get the directory path we want to scan. Then from there, it is all a matter of combining the functions we load earlier. This is my logic. I get the file hashes of the folder and then save them to a file. And whenever I check again, I just compare the stored hashes to the current one, display the appropriate message if it matches. If it don't, then the file is likely infected with a malware. So I have connected this to the front end here. And now let's test it out. I paste my directory, hit the scan button, and there we go. As we can see, the changed files is empty and the new folders are intact. What this means is that everything is good, no malware. If we run the code and we get some values in the changed files, then it means that particular file is infected and we should take action soon. So I am going to infect one of the files and show it to you. Infected one of the files. Now let's paste and hit the button again, and there we go. We see we get files in the changed file option now, meaning there is malware in the file. And we are not done. Coming up, we get to shut down programs to save battery life. And we also get to create a firewall feature as well. But let's move on to the second feature on the list, and that is memory scan. We import the necessary modules, and we are going to use psutil to get the memory information. So we create a function, we use psutil to get the virtual memory or the RAM, and with that we can get the total memory, available memory, and used memory. We return them in a dictionary or a map, depending on which programming background you are familiar with. Then we just create the route for connection to the front end. So let's test it out. We go memory scan, and there we go. Beautiful. Whenever we press the button, we get updated values. You can do same for the ROM. I wish I did not have internet issues now. I would have showed you how it works on mobile as well. Y'all can do it with mobile though. Just run the code on mobile. Link to the code in the description below, and maybe deal with some UI responsiveness. Now to the firewall feature. Creating firewalls are a very complex procedure, and we cannot create an entire firewall in this video. But I created a firewall since a firewall basic feature is to monitor and control incoming and outgoing traffic. Let's build something similar. We import socket, create a class, and start to create functions to monitor traffic. We start with an init function where we set allowed IP as a set. Create another function to allow us to add IPs. Then of course to remove IPs as well. Then another function to check if the given IP is allowed. Then finally the start function to put them all together. Let me quickly write it, then I explain it to you. So, speed code. So we have a function called start that takes in 3 parameters: self, host, and port. The socket gives us a method socket, which creates a socket. I know too many sockets, but basically it just acts as a communication endpoint. The bind method does what its name says. It binds the socket to a specific host and port, and the listen method line tells the server socket to start listening for incoming connections, with a maximum backlog of 5 connections. Then we ensure the server continues running indefinitely, wait and connect to the server, extract the IP address of the client, and check if the IP address is allowed through the firewall. If it is not, we close the server. Then now all we have to do is create an instance of the class, add an IP address of our choosing, start the firewall on the local host at port 8888. But we are not done. To actually test to see if it is working, I created this script as well for us to test the values. So we are trying to connect to the firewall. We start with 8888 since we know it is allowed, so we will get connection allowed. And there we go. Now let's change the value to 1234. How original. Now let's test it. And there we go. Connection refused. With this, we have been able to create a firewall feature to monitor and control incoming and outgoing traffic. You can build upon this to make any feature you want. Now to the fourth feature, the adware scanner. Honestly, I was not able to create a very good feature in terms of finding adwares. The code I wrote for the adware was very shallow, so my dear subscriber who requested this video, I am sorry, but I couldn't write a suitable code worthy to be included in this video. So that brings us to our final feature, the battery saver. Let's work on the backend and then connect it to our front-end interface. Is saying front-end interface redundant? Let me know in the comment section. Anyway, after importing the necessary libraries, we initiate Flask, handle cross-origin resource sharing. Then we try to monitor the apps that usually drain our battery. I am going to go with Firefox, Chrome, and Visual Studio. You can add as many as you want. So basically, we are going to check if the RAM has exceeded a specified value. If it has, then we want to shut down certain programs so we don't consume much RAM, and in turn helps us to extend our battery life. You know what they say, a happy battery is a happy laptop.
First of all, nobody says that anymore.
I am sorry, no one says that. Anyway, we create a function to shut down the program. This works for Windows users, as I am a Windows user myself. Please comment below if you are a Mac or Linux user, and I will send you the code for that. Then we check RAM usage, display appropriate messages, and create the API route for which our front-end will try to reach. We connect it to our front-end, and let's test it out. So we start with 50000, and as you can see, RAM usage is within the limit, but let's make it just a 5. And as you can see, Chrome is opened here with people.com and tmz.com as open tabs. Let's hit the button, and there we go. We get to see that Chrome closes. It closes the antivirus program as well. Have to rerun it. This is very good and can really save you a lot of battery life. I hope with this, you can create fully functional antivirus app. This was a requested video, so let me know if you guys have any request on a video you want to see in the comment section, and I will create them for you. Also, all the code can run on a mobile app as well. I just had issues with my VPN and internet connectivity. That's why you didn't see much of a mobile app interface here. It was fun. I hope you learned something. Please leave a like, spam the comments with what you think and how I can improve the videos I make for you guys. Smash that subscribe button, it really means a lot. And until the next video, adios.